Hey guys, I'm doing a response video and I'm not going to post it as a response, I'm just going to post it as a normal video. But um, why do I like to read, or why do I love to read, which I do love to read? I think mostly a lot of people will probably have the same response because most people want to escape their lives and etc. And mine's pretty much the same. Um, I can't remember a lot of my childhood because I've suppressed a lot of it because I've been through a lot. I won't go into detail exactly what, but uh, my parents were always apart. My dad had issues. My mum was trying to cope. I guess I grew up really fast. I said I wasn't going to go into it in detail, but I grew up pretty fast, and a way for me to um, not so much escape but relax as well was to read. And I started out just going to the library. I can't remember, like I said, I can't remember back to my childhood, but I know that when I lived in Queensland, when I was about 11 or so, my parents started taking us to the library, and we would take a bag and we would be able to borrow 10 books. So me and my sister used to always read 10 books or borrow 10 books, and then she started borrowing more and more, and she was younger than me, but she was a very fast reader, and she was reading like 20-30 books a week. And like, this is, I think she was probably in grade 4 or 5, and when I went to high school she was just, yeah, she was reading 800-page books in primary school. So but yeah, my parents took us to the library and we got books. And then when we moved, when I started high school, I didn't really like the high school collection of books, so I kind of stopped reading until my parents decided to take us to the library I think it was every second Saturday, where we could borrow up to 40 books, and I would borrow 10 to 20 books because I couldn't read that fast. But I was reading at least a book a day, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, mainly because I had school. And um, year 7, sorry, I'm just looking around the room. Year 7 I had a lot of issues, so I started reading, and pretty much for that whole year I had no friends because I outed myself, and it was probably one of the best and the worst things I did, but reading was just, it helped me so much. I got a lot of books on gay, lesbian, and things like that because I couldn't talk to anyone. And I couldn't talk to my parents, and I couldn't talk to my friends because I didn't have any, and everyone was just asking me questions, and I didn't know how to answer. And so I fell in love with reading again because I realised that there is literature out there for, gay, lesbians, and transsexuals, and that, I think that's when I really started finding my passion for reading again. And it wasn't just for that theme. I just started reading and I could not stop. I was staying up until 4 o'clock in the morning, getting 2 hours sleep, just reading and reading and reading and reading. And for me, I was really, really tired, but it was a life for me. And then when I moved, I know you probably don't want to know my whole life story, but this is why I love reading. But when I moved to Queensland, I lived with my aunts. Yes, they're lesbians. And I didn't get a lot of time to read, and I changed. My personality changed very much. I was in a controlled environment, and I won't go into detail about that. But it got to the point where I was being so controlled that I tried to commit suicide. And I really do believe that not being able to have something to escape to, not being able to have something to relax with. I didn't have any time to read, I didn't have any time to write, I wasn't allowed to do any of those things. I was in a controlled environment where I did chores, school, no friends because of a reason I might go too further into, but yeah. So, and then I took a really, really long break after that because I hadn't read for the whole year. And when I tried to read, I just, in my brain, it all the things I was suppressing, and get so used to it, I'd stop reading. And I really loved reading so much. And then after that, I started getting books from the library, and I decided to get the wrong books. So I decided to get some like witchcraft and satanic things, occult, and because I come from a line of psychics and mediums, and my family's all very spiritual, not so much religious, but we can see and hear, communicate with the dead and everything like that, and angels and what. And I know it sounds really weird, but that's just my family. I'm not ashamed of it. So I started dabbling with the wrong thing, and I ended up getting into a lot of trouble mentally and emotionally, and causing a lot of havoc around our house. And so I stopped reading then too, because I didn't want to open anything because I thought I'd be too tempted. And then finally, I started school. I started my year 11, which I also quit again. I'm trying to start now, but the teachers are like, yeah, that's another issue altogether. And so I was getting allowance from the government, and after paying my mum board and rent and food, I had money to myself. So I would go to the shop, and the shop was just near my school, and I would I would spend most of my money on books. And I cannot tell you how good a feeling that was, because it was my own escape as well. Buying books, being able to buy them for myself. But one of the first books that I ever um, had for myself, and this is why I fell in love with reading, because I keep saying uh, I love writing. So this is pretty much the only interesting book we had in the house that anyone had actually bought. The Fiction Writer's Handbook by Nancy Smith, and this was actually my dad's book when he was a teenager. So one day I just started reading it, and I took it for myself because, yeah. And I think I've read this book about at least 10 times that I can remember, and I love it. I still love it. I still go back through it, and it's some of the stuff is relevant and some of it's not. Some of it's outdated, but a lot of it's still relevant, and I love it. And that's why I love reading. That's not really an answer, but yeah, I love reading because it's fundamentally who I am. It's part of my makeup. I can't not read. I can try and not read for a few months, but after a while I lose myself. Reading is a very, very, very big part of my life, and it's not just a hobby to me. It is a hobby, but it's not, like I said, it's fundamentally a part of who I am. I love books. I love to write. I love language. I love learning. And while I haven't exactly had a chance to explore learning and education and challenge myself, I challenge myself by reading. I challenge myself by facing different concepts and themes and genres, and I want to absorb as much inspiration and muse and the good and the bad, the crappy novels and the trashy novels and the brilliant novels and the non-fiction books that make no sense. I know that sounds hilarious, but um, like true crime and psychic ones and new age and spiritual and just random facts. I love The Diary of Anne Frank, and I haven't read it for a long time, but that is one of the books I very, very much like. And she was a very big role in why I love reading. She inspires me very much, and I did have a copy of the book, but I lost it somewhere along the way, so I'm going to purchase another one. But she is a very big reason why I love reading. So I think I've gone on a little bit too long, because I could probably go on forever and ever, but that's pretty much a hopefully short version of why I love reading and why and who it is to me. So yeah. So I'm going to stop here because I think that I've just got a little bit too passionate and a little bit rambly, and you probably didn't need to know all that. But at least you know who I am, and I'm not ashamed to be who I am, and I love books. So do you all. So thank you guys for watching and listening to me, and thank you for accepting my response. Bye.